Hello. Thank you for listening. This is the near death experience of Lynn, and this experience occurred in 1994 and was documented on December 18th, 2017. Open quote. I did not wake up for at least a day, and maybe 2 or 3 days after surgery. I have a very rare disease that was misdiagnosed at the time. The pump that the surgeon was putting in, when working properly, helped people with both my actual disease and those with the disease I was misdiagnosed with. The technology was new at the time, and the surgeon had never put one in before. Another doctor later told me that she thought the surgeon put too much medicine in the pump at the time of surgery. Overdosing me with this drug can totally paralyze a person. That's why I didn't wake up and couldn't breathe effectively. Another anesthesiologist in another hospital thought that my disease negatively interacted with the anesthesia. He developed a different recipe for anesthesia that was specific to people with my disease. Maybe it was both. The anesthesia and the pump drugged together. No matter what, though, because all my vital organs were compromised. The correct diagnosis is Marsh-Waltman syndrome, otherwise known as stiff person syndrome. Visitors were told I was probably going to die. I don't remember how bad my breathing was, but a friend who was also a nurse came to visit me. She later told me that I was gasping for breath about 4 times a minute. Having witnessed death quite a bit, she thought that every breath was my last. Meanwhile, I went somewhere else. I was in a thin and large transparent tube, like a very thin membrane that I could see through. I was running through the tube at light speed, watching the stars and the universe go by. The amazing part to me at the time was that I could not walk at all, since I used a wheelchair and was completely stiffened. This experience of actually running was so freeing, so amazing, and so wonderful. Looking forward, the tube seemed endless as it was twisting away into eternal space. But I didn't care, because I was so free, and with every running step it took me eons away. Then I was suddenly in a beautiful place. There was a meadow to my left, as it descended down a rolling hill with wildflowers. There was a lush green forest in the distance beyond the meadow. There were 2 people there with me. Besides these 2 people was a stone wall covered with ivy. That wall separated me from everything else in front of me. I could not see over it or around it. One of the people was like a gardener with a rake. It seemed to me that he was absently raking the stones or the gravel in front of the wall. It reminded me of how Buddhist monks make calming designs with gravel. But I had the feeling that he was paying attention to what was happening with me and the other person. I later felt that this person, whose face I could never see, was probably my deceased father. My father and I had a rocky relationship during my childhood and teenage years, and up until the time he had died. I felt that he wanted to be there to know that I was okay, and for me to know that he deeply loved me in spite of some of the things that had happened between us. He died when I was age 21, and I never got to repair our relationship. I had always wanted to resolve my anger towards him and my deep fear of him. The other person is difficult to describe. He was made of love. Everything about him exuded love and defined what love really is. He took me into his arms and just held me there. He fed me that love, that calm and peaceful love. My life had been so painful for so long. I was trying so hard to just live for our young children. I was trying to maintain some sense of purpose rather than being a very sick and costly burden. That moment when I was so gently held by this person, I felt healed of my deepest grieving and my greatest loneliness. I felt he had answered my most unasked questions, told me I was unquestionably and deeply valued and loved, just as I was. It was all communicated to me without any words whatsoever. Then I woke up in ICU. End quote. There's got to be a little bit more to that, Lynn. What a wonderful experience. Let's see. Let's read some of these questions. Question: at the time of your experience, was there an associated life-threatening event? Yes, illness, surgery-related, allergic reaction, drug or medication overdose while under general anesthesia. I'm not sure if I actually died. My disease itself can be life-threatening at times. It was currently misdiagnosed as multiple sclerosis, and several years after this experience, diagnosed as Morris-Woltman syndrome, stiff person syndrome. Because of the increased stiffness with augmented superimposed whole body muscle spasms, a neurosurgeon was trying a new procedure for treatment. He used a recently developed pump in surgery. Another doctor later told me that she thought this neurosurgeon used the pump wrong, thereby potentially fatally overdosing me. Later still, at a university hospital, when my diagnosis was corrected, I again did not wake up from anesthesia and also stop breathing. This time, I was placed on a ventilator for a few days until I woke up. That anesthesiologist wrote a paper about my disease and the anesthetic complications associated with my disease, and then came up with an anesthesia protocol so it wouldn't happen again. Anyway, the first time, I was either overdosed on the drug in the pump and or it was a reaction to the anesthesia by my disease itself. In either case, apparently my breathing was severely compromised such that I was later told that my vitals were terrible and I was gasping for air about 4 times a minute. A nurse friend who came to see me said she was sure that each breath was my last. I was not expected to live. Maybe I died at one moment between those breaths. I don't know. I did have another event during plasma paresthesis when my breathing, heart, and everything stopped. They did immediate CPR and cracked my sternum in the process. But I did not have any NDEs at that time. Question: rating your highest level of consciousness. Answer: more conscious and alert than normal. I don't remember most of my everyday life like this. This was engraved on my memory like only a few other things that happened in my life. I remember where I was when I learned Kennedy was shot. I remember where I was when the Twin Towers fell. But this was even different from those things. It's hard to describe where I was when I became that love, but the memory of the experience is much more vivid and much more solid. Question: at what time during the experience were you at your highest level of consciousness? Answer: I was conscious and alert at all times, but especially when I was encompassed with that indescribable love, when I was held by love. Question: did time seem to speed up or slow down? Answer: I was just out of time completely. It wasn't even a part of my awareness. It's as if it never existed. Comparing your vision. Answer: I didn't see anything weird or unusual. Well, I suppose the whole experience was unusual, but at the time, it all seemed visibly plausible. Even if, for example, I'd never seen the universe rush past me as I ran through the tube. Question: did you pass into or through a tunnel? Answer: yes, this was the tube I described. It was maybe twice as tall as I am. That circumference, it stretched into infinity, and it was seemingly endless. It was transparent and seemingly thin, like a bubble. Although it wasn't fragile like a bubble, I could see through it, watching the stars race by as I ran through it. Question: did you encounter or become aware of any deceased or alive beings? Answer: yes. I'm pretty sure the only other person there besides the person made of love was my deceased father. He died when I was 21, and I had this experience when I was in my 40s. Question: did you seem to enter some other unearthly world? Answer: it was earthly in the sense that everything there was familiar, like the meadow, forest, flowers, stones, ivy, etc. But there were no telephone poles, no cars, no pollution, and no buildings. I have no idea where the light came from because I don't recall seeing the sun or any shadow, yet it was light. Question: what was your religion prior to your experience? Answer: Christian Mormon. Question: have your religious practices changed since your experience? Answer: yes. I think ritual and rules are wrong. I don't want to support a church that pays clergy either. We don't have much money, but to me, it's more important to financially help others in need than it is to pay someone to tell you what to do or how to be close to God. None of that is necessary anymore to me. It's just all about love. That's all. That's very simple. What's your religion now? Answer: unaffiliated, nothing in particular. No organized religion fits my experience that I've found. Many of them have elements, but none of them contain what I felt to be truth. I guess I'd come under the category of spiritual rather than religious. Certainly I believe in God. Question: did your experience include features consistent with your earthly beliefs? Answer: both consistent and inconsistent. I believed in God before my experience. The person made of love was someone beyond what I expected God would be. I didn't feel like a person worthy of being with such a being before my experience. But after, I feel that I am a person of worth, no matter what I do. Not that I could go murder someone, it's not like that. It's just, that my worth is intrinsic. Also, I found that all organized religion simply comes up short compared to my experience. Very short. Rules and liturgies and rote prayers and denying self aren't what counts. It was only about love. It's all about love. Question: did you have a change in your values and beliefs because of your experience? Answer: yes. I think I care more about helping others, though I have always been that way. I've never, ever intended to hurt or harm others or animals, the earth, etc., but it now seems to be at least a bit more care or a focus for me. Question: did you seem to encounter a mystical being or presence or hear an unidentifiable voice? Answer: I encountered a definite being. I've never, ever met anyone else on earth that actually could be described as made of love. This was not a normal human being. I'll bet not. Question: did you encounter or become aware of any beings who previously lived on earth who are described by name in religions? Answer: uncertain. At the time, because of my religion, I thought the person made of love was Jesus. I have no idea if it actually was Jesus, and for some reason, I don't think it mattered who I thought it was or even who it was. Question: during your experience, did you gain information about pre-mortal existence? Answer: uncertain. Time did not exist, so I felt as if I had existed beyond time. I was like a forever now. Question: during your experience, did you gain information about the existence of God? Answer: uncertain. Again, it wasn't communicated to me as such, but I felt sure that the person made of love was much, much, much more superior to me. It could be the Creator or God Himself. Question: during your experience, did you gain special knowledge or information about your purpose? Answer: uncertain. Just that I could relax with awful stuff to be coming my way, because the love would heal it all. Hard to explain. During your experience, did you gain information about the meaning of life? Answer: uncertain. It just felt worth it. That what I had done so far in my life was worth it, and that I was something just as I am. I felt that my purpose was already being fulfilled. Question: during your experience, did you gain information about an afterlife? Answer: an afterlife definitely exists. It wasn't a direct communication, but it was real to me. And since my deceased father was there, plus a person made of love, being in the afterlife was a conclusion I made. Question: during your experience, did you gain information about life's difficulties, challenges, and hardships? Answer: yes. For sure that what I was going through with my health and what my family was experiencing as a result was all okay. It was all just to be expected, or maybe understood with empathy by the person made of love, which made it all okay. Not anything to seek, but it just was. Question: during your experience, did you gain information about love? Answer: yes, absolutely. That was the message of the entire experience. Love was, all caps, everything. Question: what life changes occurred in your life after your experience? Answer: moderate changes. I'm no longer an active Mormon. It seems too confining to me. I try to be more compassionate, but I do fail to do what I'd like to do or be who I would like to be. I also recently have a difficult time seeing so many supposedly religious people behave so terribly against others, for example, regarding the poor. I do pay tithing to individuals and causes I think will help others and animals who have need. Helping others, especially anonymously, since I am an introvert, is something that's very important to me now. Question: was the experience difficult to express in words? Answer: yes. I've studied several languages and gained reasonable proficiency in a few. So I understand that some things don't translate well from one language to another, but this experience, mostly the love, is absolutely something that cannot be put into words. I tried to put a capital L in the love, but that almost degrades the experience. To try to capture it all with just words degrades, almost profanes it all. Question: how accurately do you remember the experience in comparison to other life events that occurred around the same time? Answer: I remember it more accurately. Since I have since been given tons of medication that literally erases my memory, and in doses that would kill most people, my memory has been affected from that. I have forgotten quite a lot of my life around that time. Also, sadly, I have forgotten quite a lot that happened in my children's lives. This is an interesting question that I've not considered before. I now have difficulty with timelines, which is why I really don't remember the year this happened or my age, although I could look it up. That all said, this experience is as vivid as it was when it happened, and the emotion is as real as it was when it happened. I'm wondering if this experience somehow escaped normal memory storage areas in the brain. In my case, memory was too often erased forever. But could the NDE be instead stored in another part of my being? Question: do you have any psychic, non-ordinary, or other special gifts after your experience that you didn't have before? Answer: no. Question: have you ever shared this experience with others? Answer: yes. It was quite a while before I shared it. Since most of the people I shared it with were Mormons, I didn't get any negative feedback. I have no idea if anyone had influenced, but I really didn't share this with too many people. One of our sons, who was just a child at the time, asked if I saw it from my own eyes or if I saw it as if watching a movie of myself. Interesting question. Question: did you have any knowledge or of NDEs prior to your experience? Answer: yes. I had read a book about it, which was one of the first written about NDEs. It helped me to not think I was crazy, though I still sometimes wonder if I just wanted to have such a thing happen to me so I wouldn't be so afraid of what was happening to me and then made it happen. Question: what do you believe about the reality of your experience? Answer: experience was definitely real. It seemed very, very real. It gave me comfort, too, considering my health. Sometimes I worry that it wasn't real, that I just wanted it to be real so badly just to get through my life. Writing about it now, however, the feelings and vividness of the experience come back so fully and clearly. End quote. End questions. And thank you, Lynn. And pretty awesome that in your health issues that you had this and you're still able to recall it and feel it and be it and know it. Thank you. And thank you out there for listening. I hope you have a nice day.